90s Nightmares podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 90s Nightmares podcast. You made it. This is your new favorite podcast, man. If you grew up watching shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps, and your favorite episode of any show is the Halloween episode, and you're a full-fledged adult now, this is where we hang out. You're here. Glad you made it, man. This show has two hosts. My name is Darek.
And my name is Booze.
And we are very happy that you are here. Thank you for your time. This is what we're doing. We are recapping, at least in this particular episode, the season 1 finale of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's called The Tale of the Pinball Wizard. One of the most controversial and most difficult episodes to film on record of basically the entire series of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And we're going to talk about it throughout this episode. There is a release date on this thing. It aired on November 14th, 1992. And the synopsis is Ross, a mischievous kid, goes to the mall where his old habits sometimes get the best of him. Which I think is a pretty accurate synopsis. What do you think, Booze?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you're going to drive this one for us, man. Wheel is yours.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
All right, right on. Okay, so we get the beginning scene and we get some Game Boy action at the beginning.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I need to ask you, did you ever own this Game Boy as a kid, or is that something maybe you picked up later on as an adult?
Mm-hmm. I had a Game Boy as a kid, and I know you can't see me, Booze, but I'm holding up my Game Boy shirt right now that I got from probably Target, and it says Game Boy since '89. I love this thing. It's a little bit big on me. But one of the first things I want to point out, this is your first fun fact of the episode, and by the way, if you're new here, the show is full of them. Also, why are you starting on the last episode of season 1? But it's none of my business. There is no reset button on the original Game Boy. If you watched the episode, they're talking about, what does this button do? It resets the game. There's no such thing on the original Game Boy, which I thought was...
No, I literally swear I said that aloud to myself the first time I watched this episode. I'm like, reset button?
No such thing, man. And also the sounds that were coming out of the Game Boy as the members of the Midnight Society were playing it, those were Donkey Kong sounds. Another fun fact.
Yeah. Yep.
I was more of a Game Boy Color kid, but I did have an original, a color, and I think I had a Game Boy Advance as well that I didn't play a whole lot.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. And now all of those games are coming to the Switch online right now. I could not be more excited.
Same. I feel the exact same way. I have one of these now, but I never got one as a kid. The first ever Game Boy that I got was a Game Boy Color, and it was right when I think that I played blue or red version of Pokemon, but my first one that I ever owned was when the yellow version came out.
Yeah.
And I got that with my very own Game Boy Color. And it very much, I even to this day, I don't have it with me, or I should have brought it out, but I bought the same Game Boy that I got as a kid, and I have yellow, red, and blue, and all that stuff too. So very very nostalgic, and absolutely love.
For sure, dude.
Love thinking back to those days.
Could not agree more. At least at the time of recording this episode with you, Booze, there are no Nintendo Pokemon games on the Switch, but there are lots of other fun ones. I remember in another episode you said you loved Paperboy.
yeah.
That one might be
definitely
coming to the Switch. If you have a Switch, you might be able to, relive your favorite childhood game then.
Absolutely. I cannot wait if that happens. I will be so stoked.
Did you ever play the Home Alone Super Nintendo game?
Yes, I did.
What a trip that was
fun.
dude. That was very hard.
That was fun. It was a lot of those games, especially the movie themed ones, were always extremely difficult.
Yeah, I don't think I beat a single one. I just got to like level, 8 out of 10, where my level just capped. I couldn't go anymore.
Yeah. Yep. It gets very frustrating too. So understandable.
Let's talk about the tale of the Pinball Wizard.
Yes. So we find out this is Gary's story. And throughout this kind of beginning scene, I can't remember, Eric, I think is the name of the kid that has the Game Boy first. And then everybody's kind of like snatching the Game Boy from one person to the next. Like, hey, like, oh, you're taking too long. Give me that. Let me try. And we finally get back to around where Gary grabs it, and we realize, okay, this is Gary's story. Gary's going to be telling us about the Pinball Wizard. And we get introduced first and foremost to our main character, which is Ross Campbell. And he starts out, and I wasn't sure how I felt about this guy immediately, because I definitely never did this as a kid, and I don't know if you did, but I was never the kid to run into a fountain in the middle of a mall and steal coins to play.
No.
On an arcade machine. That just wasn't something if my mom or somebody caught wind of that, she would have beat my ass for sure.
Absolutely, dude. I'm going to share a proud dad moment with you real quick. One of my favorite things to do with my 5-year-old now is we like to go to the mall together. And there's like there's a fountain in there where people throw their coins. And not once has he ever been like, can I have that? Can I have those quarters that are in there, Dad?
Right.
I've kind of been waiting for the times where I have to explain to him that that's not our money. It's not cool to go in there and grab somebody else's wish, which is what I would have to describe it as. But no, thankfully, not once has he ever even asked if he could have that money. Which
that's good.
That's
cool. Good on you, which is a projection from what he's obviously learning from his home, obviously. So that's good. That's good that you don't want to. At least he hasn't asked, it would be, I guess, not necessarily. Wouldn't be a bad thing or a weird question to come out of a kid's mouth, like, hey, there's coins just laying there. Why can't we have one of these? I guess so. But speaking of Home Alone too, I wrote down that the lady that like starts fighting with him, I wrote it down as a pigeon lady.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even make that connection, but you're absolutely right. Wow.
She looked a lot like the pigeon lady to me. So
what a stupid squabble that was too, man. When dude was like, I saw it first, and she goes, no, it's mine. And I guarantee there's probably 100 more quarters in that fountain. Just if you're going to be a bad person, just go get another one.
Right. I'm not really sure why we're doing this, but okay. All right. And then the security guard from up top, like, kind of yells out and, hey, what's going on down there? And Ross kind of quickly hides, and the security guard runs right past him. Well, he doesn't go right past him. I think he just goes down a set of stairs, and Ross is hiding somewhere off behind something.
He's hiding behind that like super soaker that's encased in some display case for some reason.
Oh yeah.
That's that security guard. His real name is Tom Rack. He actually co-wrote the episode.
Oh, okay. Tom Rack. Is that somebody we've met before?
Not that I know of. No. I don't know if he's a regular credited writer or not, but it is in my list of facts to share that he did co-write this one. So of course, why not put yourself in it as one of the tiniest roles? Just because, right?
right.
I know how the security guards. I know what his motives are. Let me play him.
I can handle that.
Right.
Let me get this one. And then Ross goes into one of the shops inside the mall, and we get introduced to Mr. Olson, who is the shop owner. And maybe you might have figured it out, but I wasn't really sure that entire time. What kind of shop was this? Was it like a repair shop?
Oh, I don't know. I never saw any signage, and I have no idea. Not once did that cross my mind.
There's pinball machines. There was like figurines. There was all kinds of stuff. So I was trying to like, in my mind, narrow down and figure out, okay, what kind of shop is this? Is this but the only thing I could think of was some kind of repair shop.
Yeah.
Because he, like in that first scene, he went over and he's kind of like digging into something with a bunch of wires and stuff hanging out of it. And I'm not really sure what that was. If that was another part of another machine he was fixing up or something, but.
It must have been. I think you nailed it, dude. I didn't even think about it, honestly. But yeah, it's got to be some kind of like small appliance or, knick-knack repair shop. That makes the most sense to me.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's just go with that for time's sake, I guess.
Yeah.
So I can also tell myself that so I don't have to sit there and lay awake at night thinking about what was that shop.
I'll validate you, Booze. You are correct, sir. That was a repair shop.
I appreciate
Nailed it.
I appreciate that. And Ross is like inquiring about a job. Like, come on. He's like, and he mentions some other kid named Steven. He's like, oh, you won't have to fire me like you did Steven. Like I can be a good employee and stuff like that. And, I think I skipped over this part, but, there's this other big, I don't know what you want to call it, but there's this like big thing covered up on a sheet over in the side of the room. And I guess it's safe to assume it probably some other pinball machine, but we don't really know that yet.
Right.
And then Ross goes over to try to like lift it up to see what's going inside. And Mr. Olson like freaks out and tells him to, like, stop. You can't go. You don't touch that type of thing.
Right. Yeah. Forget it.
Yeah. It's in that scene where they come up to somebody like in a spaceship or something. And they're like, all right, there's a red button right here. Don't press the red button. And then walk away.
See that big red button in the middle of the console?
I want to press that button.
Oh, that's the one you're not allowed to press.
Yeah. We're going to make it huge and giant. And then we're going to emphasize, really do not press that button.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're not going to tell you why. We're not going to go into details. Just don't press it. Okay. All right,
it reminds me,
off screen.
and then we're going to go, and then we're going to leave you by yourself. It reminds me of the big red button from The Tale of the Captured Souls. Do you remember that dude, Peter?
Oh, yeah.
Where he had like his own bat cave, and that big red button like revealed his time machine portal or whatever it was. It was very similar. It had those vibes. Like, don't touch this button.
It was. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, well, he's like, don't touch that. And then he's like, go play one of the other pinball machines. They're out there. So Ross kind of like begrudgingly goes out there and starts playing on this machine. And this part definitely made me laugh because not even like 10 seconds later, the shop owner, Mr. Olson, like walks out and he's like, all right, we're closing up. Like immediately gives him like 10 seconds to play. He's like, all right, we're closing up. He's like, what?
And he does the thing where he just unplugs it from the wall. Like he doesn't even give Ross a chance to be like, okay.
The ultimate F you. Yeah. Like not even gonna let you finish that game. Just get out.
Time to go.
Like, I gotta go eat lunch.
Yeah. At 3:00, no less.
3:00 emphasizes the part about it being 3:00 and he hasn't ate lunch yet.
Right.
But Ross takes advantage of this opportunity to tell him like, okay, look, this is a perfect time. Like I can watch the shop to prove to you that I can be a good employee while you go eat lunch. So Mr. Olson at first is kind of like, not too keen on the idea. And then he ultimately allows him to do that. And like one of the things is just the big red button here again. Don't touch that pinball machine that I told you. Don't play it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And sit here. He's like, can I go to the bathroom? No. You can't go to the bathroom. Like, sit right here. Stay right here. I'm trusting you, blah, blah, blah. And then Mr. Olson leaves, and I think immediately Ross, like, stands up and starts, like, fidgeting with stuff and looking around.
Doesn't waste a single second, dude.
No. Immediately. As soon as that door closed, he's like, all right, I'm gone. I'm up. Let's do this.
Yeah. He's into it, man.
Yeah. And he goes back there and starts playing that machine immediately. Like, he takes that big painting sheet or whatever it is off of it and starts playing it.
Mr. Olson hasn't even like let the doors close behind him, and he's already hitting every big red button.
There's already a quarter in the machine. The lights are on. Like the dude was not hesitating. He knew what he was gonna do.
Oh
regardless. My God! It's like I'm sure setting a big giant bowl full of candy in front of your kids and like, hey, here's some candy. Don't eat it though. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go upstairs and fold some laundry. Here's some candy. Don't touch it.
Yeah, that's a social experiment.
See what happens. Yeah. And then as he's playing that game, the camera kind of goes back out, and then Mr. Olson comes back to the shop. He doesn't actually go inside the shop, but he starts like giggling and laughing to himself and smirks. And then walks away. I think I'm assuming my interpretation of it was him like kind of listening to see if he was playing it. He was listening for the sounds of Ross playing the game.
Of course,
he hears that Ross is playing the game, and then he smirks and walks away.
Yeah. That evil chuckle laugh.
Yeah.
That thing. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yes. Then I think he plays a round or maybe two on there, loses pretty quickly, and then hears a bell go off, goes back up to the front of the shop, and then Ross gets completely lost in the sauce when this babe walks into the store, and she's asking about her music box.
And you knew she was a babe because the music that played while she entered the room was, sensational.
Oh yeah.
Put it
Yeah,
that way.
absolutely. It was very on brand
Yeah.
for whatever the scene they're trying to portray.
Uh-huh.
She tells him it's a throne in a gold box, and she keeps asking him along this like conversation, like, "Do you really work here?" And he's like, "Yeah. I watched the place, and like I'm in charge." He keeps like emphasizing that, and then he can't seem to find this gold box, and then he finally admits the fact that he actually doesn't work there, and he's not sure if it's even fixed like it was supposed to be. And so she tells him she's got some stuff to do. She'll come back when Mr. Olson returns. And Ross, throughout this entire like interaction, is clearly smitten with this girl. I mean, if this was a cartoon, he'd have hearts shooting out of his eyes, and there'd be some sound effects going like "auga, auga,"
Auga.
like it was
A couple of wowzers, I'm sure, too.
Ooh, yeah, wowza.
Also, I want to point out that you said the word keen like 10 minutes ago, and
Oh, you know what? I did.
and I caught that.
After like giving it all that shit in that last episodes too about how ridiculous that word was,
Yep.
and that maybe
Here you are, man.
Well, it comes full circle.
All right.
I'm gonna have to start inserting it into my vocabulary on the regular now.
You want to know what I find keen?
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, here's the next fun fact, man. Mr. Olson was this. We've seen him before in the show. He was the carnival barker that was on screen for like 4 seconds in Dark Music. Remember that scene?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in Dark Music,
Yep.
where that door opens
I
up and we get to see different worlds, and one of them is a carnival world, right? Mr. Olson was in there.
Yes. Okay. Well, I can definitely tell that's him now, but I had no idea until then.
But you do know, like, that people are just holding bread in random scenes for no reason. That's all right. Cool. I'm very keen of you.
Yeah, that's it's odd what I focus on
Yeah.
throughout episodes. Like I won't make connections with actors of previous episodes, but I will tell you that there was a random girl eating a giant piece of bread.
Yeah. She's holding her controller sideways.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly right.
So what happens next?
So the girl leaves the shop, and Ross goes back to playing that game. And this time he actually gets pretty far, and he even like vocalizes it. He says like, "Hey, I'm on the 3rd level," and he ends up losing once again on this game, even though he's got to the 3rd level. And I don't know, I don't remember if he even looks at a clock or anything like that, but he realizes like, hey, I think it's getting kind of late. And then he exits the shop, and the mall seems to be completely closed. All the lights are turned down. There's only like very dim lights, and he gets all the way to the entrance, and it's locked. And he says, "Oh, my mom's gonna kill me."
Yeah.
Let's see, where's the next part?
While you're looking
Then
for
he hears a phone ring.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I'll let you keep going. I had
No,
another fun fact, but I'll space them out.
Okay. All right.
I got a
Is
lot
this one about bread or no?
No, no bread in this
No
one.
bread. No bread facts. Okay.
No,
bread
I'll
facts.
let you handle those. You're great at it.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty good at them.
Lots of practice.
The phone rings, and he runs to get it, and then someone on the line says, "Got an umbrella?" and then starts laughing.
Yeah.
And he turns around, and he sees just a bunch of coins just showering into that fountain that we saw earlier.
Ouch.
And Ross, yeah, I was gonna say that I'd be careful. That probably wouldn't feel too good if you're standing in the middle of that.
No.
But he runs in and starts snatching up as many as he can. And while he's doing that, some random like guy in a black suit walks by, and he goes to like make an attempt to talk to him. And then another similar guy walks up and grabs Ross's arm when Ross reaches out to talk to that first guy. And then when Ross goes to remove that hand, it kind of falls off and dust flies, and Ross flips out and flips backwards. And then all of a sudden there's like this big giant group of those same men. They're wearing like these black suits, got black top hats on and black sunglasses. And they're, I wasn't really sure what to think about that as I was, what was your interpretation of that? Did you have any when you were watching that?
I thought it was like low budget. I don't know, dude, like Men in Black, or like, did they even come back in the episode? Remind me.
They did briefly
Okay.
towards the end.
Okay. I'm hazy on.
But it wasn't, it wasn't like super. I don't think they were too integral to the episode itself.
I didn't think
At least
so.
It didn't seem like it was to me.
I didn't think so either. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe this just lends itself to like the fact that this was like one of the most torturous episodes of the entire series to film because there was so much stuff they were trying to do. And they probably could have cut those dudes in black and had everything been just fine still.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think they were too essential to this episode, but I mean, I guess it felt a little forced, but whatever.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of like standing back and like swaying back and forth in unison, like, and they're refusing to go into this like water that had fallen onto the floor. And Ross kind of quickly points out like, oh, water, like you're scared of water, or they won't, go into water or whatever. And that's when he hears like a girl cry for help. And Ross looks up to see that same girl from earlier, which her name was Sophie. And she's getting kind of like pulled away by this large man. And she tells Ross that he needs to she's like screaming help. And then she says, Ross, get the tiara from the vault and save the key. And this is all like, I was super confused I was about as confused as Ross seemed to be throughout this entire thing, because I still wasn't really making the connections quite yet myself.
No, up until this point, I was still wondering how it all is going to come together. So I'm with you.
Yeah. And she ends up dropping that necklace to the ground, and all these men in black kind of like file away like they're going to get it. And Ross starts like tossing water at them from the fountain, and they all like hiss back. I'm like, all right. And then he runs over and grabs that necklace, which it actually ends up being like a key. And in this next part, it was also kind of a stretch. Like he's looking for the quote unquote vault that she told him about, and he just goes over to this like wall of like little cubby lockers and assumes that, oh, this must be the vault.
Gotta be.
And he just starts randomly like yanking open doors. And the first one he opens, he gets like some Nickelodeon goo or something like shot all over him. I don't really know what that was supposed to be.
It's a fun little gag.
Yeah.
Picked the wrong door, dude.
Right. And second door he opens, it's like some type of smoke or something. I'm not really sure what that was supposed to be either. And then the third one he opens, it's like a hairband or something, and it did everything but like the angelic music or whatever when you like find the right thing in a game you're supposed to do. And I guess we're supposed to assume that this is the quote unquote the tiara that she's talking about.
Yeah.
Which is again still very confused up until this point. I have no idea what the hell is going on.
You're not the only one, brother.
And then I'm glad I'm not. I didn't think there'd be too many people that were really understanding what was going on.
No.
But again, you never know. So
no, you know how like when you're dreaming and things just happen, and then your brain goes, okay, that happened, and then that just repeats itself for what feels like 3 hours. That was just this episode for me. Like, oh, that's a thing.
Absolutely.
What's the next thing?
Absolutely.
And nothing relates.
Have you ever had one of those dreams where it's like super wild and super random, and then you try explaining it to somebody, and then as you're explaining it to somebody, you realize how stupid it actually was, and it makes no sense. And
100%.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly how I felt about
100%.
Like when you start trying.
And DJ McHale, the creator of this show, he knew that. He knew. I don't know if he helped co-write it, or if he just got the script and was like, "Oh, this thing's a mess." But he knew that it was so bad and it was going to be bad that he was like, you know what? I can't let anybody else direct this because they're gonna hate me. So DJ McHale was like, you know what? I'll step up. I will take this mess of a script and I'll just direct it myself, so that way nobody else has to. So he kind of took one for the team there, because he knew. There you go. He knew, dude. It was just a literal nightmare.
Yeah, it's just messy.
And it was filmed in a real mall, and they couldn't actually film until like the mall closed, of course. So they were shooting from like, I don't know, 8, 9 or 10 p.m. until probably 5 a.m. They did that for 6 days in a row. Now, normally when they record these dark episodes, if they're on time and if everything jives well, they're done in like 4 or 5 days. But this one took 6 days, and it was all from PM to AM. And it's not like, mall closes at 10, so you say action at 10:01. They had to spend hours setting up lights and setting up rigs and stuff.
Right.
And then they had to have all that gone by the time the mall opened up the next morning. So they were so many things working against them.
That's a lot.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mhm.
Which can obviously contribute to the fact that this, yeah, for sure. So as Ross is walking away with that hairband, I can't remember exactly what happens, but it like morphs and turns into an actual tiara, and then all the quarters that he picked up earlier in that fountain were actually they're now like pinballs.
And then you say, okay.
Yeah,
right.
I'm just like,
okay.
All right. Yeah, I was like, all right, we're just gonna let you have that one too, and just continue on. Maybe this is all gonna make sense.
Taking a whole lot of liberties with this script, man. But all right, go ahead and have that one too.
Like there's got to be a payoff at some point, right?
Just waiting for it. We are 15 minutes into the episode, and I am still waiting for some kind of connection point.
Right. Sophie hears Sophie call out to him again, as she's been still being taken away by that same man. And then this like old haggard old woman jumps out in front of him and like blows him back down a hallway and steals the tiara from him. I wasn't sure in the moment that it was supposed to be a witch. I wasn't really sure, but I guess later on it's confirmed that she was a witch. So I guess that's just the title I'll give her now. But even during that scene, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then Sophie's calling out for Ross once more, telling him to get the music box now. And so Ross runs back to Mr. Olsen's shop to grab that box, and then he finds Sophie inside of it. She's like chained up in the back room.
And he knew where the box was all of a sudden when he didn't.
Yeah, now he found it.
He knows exactly where it is now. Okay, cool. To which you say, okay.
Yeah. All right, Ross. That makes sense, man.
Give you that one. Good for you, man. You've been bestowed with the knowledge of knowing where things are now. Great. I said bestowed on accident. That was stupid.
That's okay. I mispronounce words all the time, so you can have that one too.
It's a good thing we don't read very much, right?
Right. That's very true. Ross unlocks her with the key that he has on that necklace that she dropped earlier. So, and then he's like, starts questioning her, like, what's going on? And then she ends up grabbing that music box from out in the front room and tells them that they need to get the tiara back. And then all of a sudden, from left field, another hooded man with a morning star just starts attacking them.
I know. Okay, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
another left field hook.
All right. Yes. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Come on in. Why not? Join the mess. What else can we do in this episode?
We're used to it by now. We're like, all right.
Yeah. Like, all right, whatever you want to do. You grab the wheel. I'm just going to get in the back seat. You just take off. You just do what you think.
Pretty much, man. Right? Now this, I got to jump in real quick. This podcast is a few things. It's a deep dive Easter egg theory hunting love letter to scary things from the 90s. But we're still going to talk shit about the bad stuff, right? And the things that make no sense.
It's unavoidable on this one.
Yeah, dude.
It has to be confronted.
Yep.
It does.
We've said it before. You can't make 91 of something, and a handful of them are just going to be awful. We just have to accept it.
Right. Yep, it is what it is at this point. So, and it's still good. I'm not gonna, sit there and spend 45 minutes, just shitting all over the episode. There's some parts in it that I enjoyed, but I also have to be a realist, and this is a lot. But
even hearing your recap, I'm like, huh, what, and then what? Oh
yeah, I know. Like my notes, like if I didn't just rewatch this or something, I handed somebody these notes, I guarantee they'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking? This is like a giant run on.
The fever dream. I'm just imagining you right now with like the board behind you with all the red yarn on it, and you're like feverishly like connecting the dots.
Exactly.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, you're good. You're good. They run off after that. The Morningstar guy attacks them, and they find that witch from earlier with the tiara still. And then Sophie turns on the music box, and for some reason that makes the tiara disappear from the witch's hands. And so they're like, okay, now we have to go find it again. And then they hide the music box in a trash can.
Like you do.
I don't remember why they did that, but they did. And then Morningstar Man comes out from left field again and starts to attack them once more.
Morningstar Man. That's
yeah.
Okay.
And Sophie, he keeps telling Ross, like, hey, you have to play the game. Like, this is a game. You have to play the game. He's like, oh, okay. And so then, not really sure how he gets the Morningstar from the guy, but he gets it. And then they run away and find the tiara again. And this is my, if I have to pick a favorite scene out of this entire episode, this is my favorite scene. When Ross takes the pinballs out of his pocket and just rolls them across the floor.
Yep.
And the witch just like starts stumbling on him and falls. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on?
When I was going through my potential list of favorite scenes, it's a very short list, but that one would probably it as well. Just because it's just so comic, just so cartoonishly bad.
It's just too much. It's just way too much, and it's too on the nose.
Yeah.
And it's too
it's only good because of how bad it is.
Yes.
My opinion. Yeah, you and I agree on that. I can't wait to rate this episode with you later. But yeah, let's finish the recap first.
It's gonna be fun. It's
not 5, that's for sure.
So Ross realizes that, okay, I'm playing that pinball game that I played earlier, and he has to crown Sophie in the throne, and then he will win. So he grabs the music box, and he's like, oh, this is too small. And then he's like, I don't know how this is going to be an actual throne. And then all of a sudden he sets it down, and then it just turns into this big, huge throne. And he sits down on it, and then all of a sudden it starts just moving super fast down all these long hallways of the mall for reasons I'm unsure about. But again, I'm just here for the ride. So,
yep. To which you say, okay, yeah.
He gets pushed all the way to, yeah, sure. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Where are we going? All right. Okay.
Whatever. You're driving. That's fine.
Then he gets stops outside this elevator, and this big muscular dude with a mask on, just if you can find it and clip this scene into it or make a note or something like that, I think it would be super funny, because the guy comes out from behind the throne after pushing him, and then Ross looks at him, he looks at him, and then he just looks down and he just goes, and then goes over for no reason, for absolutely no reason. I don't know why, but I was just like, okay, all right.
To which you say, okay, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Yeah, again, there's a running theme.
I'm gonna beat that line into the ground here. I'm sorry.
Right. It's hard not to, because that's all you can do at this point.
So much stuff going on.
So
dude.
then there is so much going on. The man that took Sophie comes out of the elevator. I don't really know who he's supposed to be, and then just kind of grabs Ross by his shirt, and he just says, "Going down." And throws Ross inside the elevator, and the elevator goes down. And then Ross realizes, he's like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm at the beginning again. So, he must have failed. So he's got to restart the game all over again. But this time he remembers he's actually playing a game. He knows kind of what the formula is. He immediately gets the Morningstar and breaks open the glass that's holding this big baller squirt gun, super soaker, whatever you want to call it, which is pretty cool. I definitely can say that if I would have had that, I would have definitely wanted that as a kid. That was a pretty cool looking squirt gun.
Yeah, that was the same one from the beginning of the episode that he was hiding behind.
Yes, correct.
painted gold
And
for
so
some
then
reason.
he rolls up on that. Yeah. I was gonna say or mention something about that too. Like one of the tanks was like golden or something for some reason. Not really sure why.
Because
but
okay, yeah,
okay.
why not?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. He rolls up on the guy, that same man that just threw him through the elevator, sitting on the throne. And the men in black are now. This is where they make their second appearance, and they're just like standing there holding Sophie.
Right. Okay. Right.
And yes. And that's when he just starts blasting everybody with water, and they start like do that same thing that happened earlier where they kind of like poof and disappear. And then like we get a nice little a short fight scene where the guy that was just sitting in the throne knocks the squirt gun out of his hand. And like the oh no moment where what's going to happen next, but then all seems to have failed, but then and then Ross pulls out the little mini squirt gun out of nowhere, and then he blasts
Got to stay
that
strapped,
guy
man.
away. Yeah, stay strapped, get clapped,
Keep that thing
then,
on you.
Yes, absolutely. And he delivers that really good line. He's like, "You're out of here," is what he says, which was a pretty good line. Yeah, that's really, really good one. This going down, you're out of here. Yeah, we get a bunch of good ones in that, at least in these moments. Then Ross saves Sophie, crowns her, and so it's safe to assume, okay, you did it. You won. Ross, you beat the game. That's what you needed to do in order to set all this stuff back, but only he goes back to the beginning again, right back to where he was before. He hears Mr. Olson, Mr. Olson kind of looks down and starts laughing and tells or reminds Ross, and from the beginning, he's like, "I told you not to play the game. I knew I couldn't trust you." And he just does that that little maniacal evil laughter that he did before.
Yeah, he's good at that.
And yeah, really good at that. Really good at that. And then all of a sudden, there's this giant pinball that like forms at the top of that escalator. I'm not really sure what was going to happen there. I guess he was going to play pinball with Ross as the I don't know. I don't really know what that part was supposed to be, but again, just the okay, yeah, sure.
Like you do.
And that's the end of the episode. We go back to the campfire, and now if you remember from the beginning of the episode, everybody was snatching the Game Boy out of everybody's hands, wanting their turn to play with it. Only now the script has flipped. Nobody wants to play with the Game Boy now. Everybody's kind of just like passing it off like, oh, he's like, no, you can have it. And it seems like everybody's a little too afraid.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And Gary delivers a line that says, "Whoever's got the game, make sure the game doesn't get you." Something like that. I think that's what I wrote down. And again, that's it. So I already know that this is probably your favorite episode that you've watched thus far, just as up on par with
the Hungry Hounds.
What was that? The Hounds.
Yeah.
The Hungry Hounds episode. That was a super good one too.
Dude, I cannot explain to you how, again, relieved I was when I found out I wasn't the only one that didn't like the Hungry Hounds. When I saw that was one of the lowest rated episodes of the season, I went, ooh, thank goodness it wasn't just me.
Yeah, I didn't want to, you don't want to be the asshole that, kind of hates on an episode super hard.
Yeah.
And it's beloved by everybody, but I think it was unanimous that one was.
Imagine hating Super Specs. Like,
right.
It's okay to be wrong, but dude, that's very wrong.
Yeah, you can be wrong, but that's extremely, very, very, very wrong.
Yeah, dude. Man, Gary. Who's the Midnight Society leader? It's Gary, right?
Yeah, okay. I think so.
For sure. I'm struggling in this exact moment because his real name is Ross, and this story had a Ross character in it. So I was always in my head like out of it, like fourth wall break throughout the entire episode, which added me lessening the score, which we'll find out here in a second. So I thought that was weird to have Gary tell a story about a guy named Ross. But dude, how good is Gary? He's so like stoic and just, he's a good leader.
He is. He is a good leader. He's
Great leader.
he's the White Ranger. He's the guy, the forefront that always seems to be kind of got the dadly aspects to him.
He so this wasn't the only episode, but it was the first episode to not have like a mid-story break where we go back to the Midnight Society and kind of catch up with them.
Oh yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yep, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, the episode's so good, they don't even want to give and waste any time going back to the campfire.
Don't fix what ain't broken, baby.
Men in Black. Yeah.
We could have used some freaking context though, dude, or at least some dumbing down for me, even as an adult. I would have liked to have gone back to Gary and have him like hold my hand for a few seconds and catch me up to speed, but yes. I didn't get that.
Yes, please. But I mean, at the same, this is, and I think I've said it before, but this is one of the episodes where the same exact scenario played out with the Tale of the Hungry Hounds, where I had to watch it multiple times because I found myself getting super distracted while watching it, that like I wasn't captivated in any sense.
You know what I bet, dude? I would put money on the fact that you were not distracted from external sources in your outside life. You were distracted from the story itself, because that made no sense, dude. Am I right on that?
I think that's pretty accurate to say,
brother.
Honestly,
brother, let's rate this thing.
Okay. All right. You want to do the countdown?
I do. Out of 5 stars in 3, 2, 1, 1.
1.
Okay, we agree. Yeah, we agree.
Yep.
Dang, dude. Well, I feel like we probably, I speak for both of us when I say that we've made our point as to why we gave it a 1-star rating for each of us. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not gonna spend another 20 minutes just crapping all over this episode.
No,
it's still Are You Afraid of the Dark? So it's still good. I'm still gonna enjoy watching it. But again, like you said earlier, and we've said before, when you make so many of these, there's just bound to be a couple of them they're gonna be a little bit more of a dud. And this one was just a lot tougher to get through than normal.
Yeah. Dude, well, and at this part of our episode, the streetlights are on. And if you've watched the last episode, then you know what that means. Like when we were kids and the streetlights would come on, it's time to go home. But the cool kids, they got to hang out after the streetlights. So that's where we are. So if you're here in this part of the episode, thank you.
Yep.
Booze and I, we appreciate you. We love you. We're doing the show for you at this point.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Streetlight crew, man. We're here. We hang out after the streetlights come on. So there's that.
Yeah, and actually, if Darek is going to lift up that rock over there, and he stole a couple of his dad's cigarettes, and we're all going to smoke some cigarettes over here.
Yeah. That's what the Streetlight crew does, man. Yeah, like
yeah, the little heathens, You
don't make the rules, you just follow them. So could Booze and Darek fight the big bad in this episode? What do you think?
I don't know. If I'm getting chased with the Morning Star, I don't see myself doing very well against that.
What about me and you together?
Maybe. If it's the exact same guy, like from that, and this guy's not like capable or has any skills whatsoever with the way he darted around and then got the Morning Star. If it's that same sort, and who is the big bad in this one? Is it Mr. Olsen? Is it
unclear? I was hoping you didn't ask, because I don't have a definite
now that
answer.
I think about it, like, who is the big bad in this one? Like, I can't even narrow it down to one entity or person or any of it. Like,
well, I would venture to say that since this episode is a little bit more like video game based, like it's a real life video game. You and I definitely together, maybe not individual. We would be able to understand the rules and be able to play by them in order to win. So I think you and I together, we take on the Men in Black, and we struggle against the Morning Star Man, but we still get it done in the end.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think now that, if you put into the fact that all I got to do is just squirt these guys with some water a couple of times, I think we'd be all right.
Yeah. Dude, well, I want to show the audience one thing, and for those that are watching, you're gonna see this, and then for those that are listening, you're gonna hear this. That's how humans work.
Yeah.
So what I want to leave you guys on is this custom Nickelodeon Splat logo. Look at this thing, dude. It's gorgeous. So for our audio listeners, imagine this, right? It's 1990 something. You're sitting on your big orange couch and you're watching Nickelodeon. That like orange splat thing comes up on screen and it says Nickelodeon, right? We love that logo. It's built into our DNA. You can have one that you can hold in your hand with your name on it or with whatever you want on it. Mine says Darek. Booze has one that says Booze as well. You can get your own from the Etsy shop called Mini 3D Print Shop. It's awesome. Now, these are custom Nickelodeon splat signs. He'll make them in a couple of different sizes for you if you want. And they're so dope, dude. He can say whatever you want. And they're high quality. They're 3D printed and they're sanded down very well. Like I dropped one on accident. I dropped mine, but it's no sweat, dude. It's still holding up just fine.
Yeah, it's good.
He's nailed the font right here. This is just so fun to have and to hold, dude. So there, wanted to throw that out there. If you get your own custom Nickelodeon splat sign from the Etsy shop, Mini 3D Print Shop, plug in the discount code Nightmares. You're going to get 25% off your order. These things are already inexpensive, okay? But if you want another 25% off your order, the discount code is Nightmares. Get your own. If you get one, take a photo of it, send it in. I'd like to make like a collage of, everyone who's purchased one so far and get it all in at least in one photo. Everybody, that was season 1 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? We did it. I'm grateful for you that you're here. Thank you for allowing Booze and I to do this together and for being a part of it with us. Super grateful, man. Thank you. Season 2. Do you want to talk about season 2, Booze?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm very excited for season 2.
Okay, cool. Season 2, not of just Are You Afraid of the Dark, but season 2 of the 90s Nightmares podcast, this show right here. So here's kind of an announcement. And again, if you're in the Streetlight crew and you're still hanging out this far into the video, thank you so much. You're going to be the first ones to know this. We've been doing bi-weekly episodes. That means every 2 weeks, you get another episode from us. Starting in season 2, we're doubling that. We're going to do one episode every single week. We're still going to do Are You Afraid of the Dark every other week like we have been, but in those in-between weeks, we're going to do, the scary episodes from Hey Arnold. We're going to do the Halloween episodes from Doug, from Boy Meets World, from other, nostalgic 90s things that we grew up on, maybe even some early 2000s, if you guys are cool with it. I have been waiting to tell you this since Booze and I first talked about it, and I'm glad I finally can.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
We're doubling production. I can't wait to see how that goes. I hope you guys come along with us for every in-between episode as well. I'm looking at the time. Booze, let's get out of here, man. Thank you so much for doing this with me, Booze. To the audience, thank you guys. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. See you then.
Later.
The 90s Nightmares Podcast.